Now I hope today's video works, but you know when you just something pops into your mind and you start thinking about it, and the next thing you know you've gone down a real rabbit hole. Well, that's what today's video is all about. It's a rabbit hole. So let's explore that rabbit hole. Do many of us live in the past? And why do we live in the past? Do we live in the past when we conjure up old, sad, happy, sad, melancholy memories of family gone, long gone, of holidays, of when we were kids, of just times gone by? Is that living in the past? I don't think that is. I don't see that as living in the past. I see that as taking a little fleeting glimpse through a scrapbook, a photo album of times gone by. Just pulling up little memories to make us feel happy, to make us feel sad. But they're nice and they're all there and they're locked away in our memory banks. In my opinion, we live in the past when we look back and we brood about things that could have been, would have been, should have been, about things we may have done that we didn't do, that would have changed the trajectory of our lives for the better or for the worse. And we think on it and we brood on it and we let it bother us and we let it affect our emotions now. We let things that happened in the past that we can't change, that we've no control over, that in the past they happened. There's nothing you can do about it, nothing anybody can do about it ever. It's history, it's in the past, it's unalterable. And yet we go there and we brood about it as if we can do something about it. There's no point regretting it. It's done, it's dusted, it's history, it's the past. There is no point crying over spilt milk, is there? Just look back on the odd memory. Cherry pick the memories. Cherry pick the memories and just remember the good times. And try to avoid the bad times creeping in and buggering your head up. We're beating ourselves up about something that we've invented in our own heads. That seems to be this human desire for self-flagellation, doesn't it? It doesn't do anybody any good, and it does a lot of people a lot of harm. Which way should we go? We could strike off across a stile into the fields, or we can carry on and walk into the woodland. Let's walk into the woodland. We may walk back through the fields. It's a lovely morning. It's quite cool. It's fairly overcast, but there is quite a bit of blue sky. And it's quiet, and I can just hear a few birds over to my left. Nothing's moving except us, moving through the landscape. The past is just that, the past, and we're adding to it every moment. Every moment that we live is the future going into the past. That last word I said is in the past. The word I'm going to say is in the future, and I've said it, now it's in the past. And there's nothing I can do about it. There is no present. There is only the future and the past. Because we can't pause time. If we could pause time, then we would have the present. But in a nanosecond, we go from the past to the future. There's nothing to be gained by living in the past. There's nothing we can do about it. It's done. We can learn lessons and try not to make the same mistake again. But spoiler alert, we probably will. But we need to just put the past behind us where it belongs. And what about the future? Because is there actually a future? Because we're living in it all the time, aren't we? That nanosecond, that I've put my foot down, no, it's in the past. It's in the future, it's in the past. We're moving into it all the time. The only future is in our heads because we're just moving into it all the time. I put my foot down. No, that's in the past. There is no present because it's moving all the time. There's no stopped still in life. We can make plans for a distant future. We can plan holidays. We can plan retirement. We can plan pensions. We can plan a family. But they're only plans because anything can happen in that distant future to the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. I don't know whether I quoted that verbatim, but you know what I mean. Plans we make in the future are just those plans, and they can always go wrong, and they very seldom do. A plan you make in the future, saying we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, when you get to it, even if you achieve that point, it will probably have been altered and worked on and fixed up and amended on the way to that distant future. But on a day-to-day basis now, as I'm walking through this landscape, there's just the past. We're moving into the future. There is only the past. There's only history. Every little thing I do, I touch a branch. It's now in the past. It's history. There's only one definitive place to live, and that is in the now. Not in the past. Don't live in the past. There's nothing you can do about that. By all means, make plans for the distant future, because that gives us something to aim for. But the now, this moment, not the present, because there is no present, but this now, this moving, constantly moving through space and time, from history to the future, from the past to the future. Like I say, this footstep, that is now in the past, and I've got to look towards the future. I mean, my immediate future lies in those fields behind me, where I'm going to go walking with Molly, and the sun's coming up, and it's going to be a beautiful day. And that's our immediate future. I can't even make plans. I can make plans to walk across those fields. I will walk, there's a gate in the distance. We will walk through the fields towards that gate. We will go through that gate. But who's not to say that I might break my ankle halfway there? Or Molly may just refuse because she's getting tired. So that is just a planned future. So that planned future doesn't have to be years ahead. It can be seconds ahead. But circumstances can change that. And we can do something about that. We can alter our plans, even in the short-term future, in the few seconds ahead of us. But the past, the immediate past, the last couple of seconds that I've lived, you can't alter that. That's there now. Nothing can change that. You can look back on it and think, that was nice. I can look back on that walk I've just done from the car to here and think, that was a nice walk, but there's nothing I can do about it. If I'd dropped something, say I'd dropped my phone on the way and it broke, that's happened. You can't alter that. Nothing can alter that. And there is absolutely no point going back and brooding on it. All you can do is think, right, how can I solve that broken phone? And that is in the future. It's the future. We're always looking towards the future. Moving into the future, walking down towards this corner of a field now, and there's a woodland, and it's hidden from view round a bend, and you've got kind of this expectancy. What am I going to see round the bend? What view is going to be there? Is it going to be a nice pleasing view? Looking towards an optimistic future. Even in illness, we've got to look forward with optimism. It's difficult. Some parts of life are a lot more difficult than others. But that's what it's about. It's all about optimism. I'm a glass half full kind of person, just naturally. That's just how I am. So it's not that difficult for me to be optimistic about the future. I've not got long future now. Obviously, I'm not going to live till I'm 150 years old, so I've not got that long, and I can look towards it now and think there's very little can go wrong. If I have an illness now, I can think, well, I've had a great life, and I have got those memories I can look back on, like a photo album. But I never look back and brood. I never look back on my cancer and my heart attacks, and losing my business, and losing the boat, and losing all sorts of crap, and losing houses. I can't look back on things like that and get worked up. There's no bloody point, is there? There is no point at all. It does nobody any good. It's self-flagellation. This is what we're good at as humans, beating ourselves up. But don't beat yourself up. Look towards the future. Look towards a distant future. Look towards the immediate future. Look towards walking towards the window and seeing that view. That's in the immediate future, but it's something to look forward to. And then you look at that view, and it's immediately in the past. It's history. It's stored away as a happy memory. This has been a bit of a rambling talk, but like I say, once you go down a rabbit hole sometimes, you need to follow it up, just to satisfy your own curiosity. And I've done that this morning. I always say that it's great to get things on paper, and it's also great to hear your own words and get it down on video. So I feel great now, and the sun's coming out. It's raining now. It's spotting with rain, but the sun's coming out. And it's a lovely temperature for Molly to run about in, because she likes it when it's cool, and she's just had a haircut. And we're walking at the side of a very tall hawthorn hedge, and I'm looking towards the future. I'm looking towards having a piece of toast and a cup of coffee when we get home. And that's something nice to look forward to. And then as soon as I've done that, it's in the past. Because there is no present. We cannot stop time and look round, because we're always moving. And that's where we're making split-second decisions all the time. Millions of little decisions all the time, because we're moving into the future and there's nothing we can do about it. So you've got to live in the now. Live in the now. Appreciate everything around you for the now, because as soon as it's happened, it's history. And you might get run over by a bus in 10 seconds. Hopefully you don't, especially not in the middle of a field. That would be unusual. So that's all I've got to talk about this morning. Because next time, we're going to talk about back to the basics of slow living. Not wanting to repeat myself, because I've done videos about that, but there's more to say all the time. There's something new to add all the time. If you've got an active mind and an active curiosity, there's always something new to add to everything you think about. A new nuance, a new view, a new opinion. And it's great to just get it out and talk about it. So there you go. Discuss. We shall see you all on the flip. Peace and love.